You're tuning into the X Factor of Safety. I'm your host, Pedro Maciel. Here at the X Factor of Safety, we like to discuss industry topics, both safety and not safety. We dive into daily lives of safety pros and various industry leaders, digging deep and finding out what their X Factor is. Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. This episode, we got an exciting guest. I seen him on LinkedIn. His videos caught my eye. The one, the only, none other, George Nelson. Again, following it on LinkedIn and looking at the video and what he's bringing, I figured we'd have him on the show so that way he can give us his insight and a little peace of mind. So I'll stop talking and I'll go ahead and let George introduce himself.
Yes. So, George Nelson, graduated Indiana State University back in 2013. I'm a certified safety professional, but I have a really strong background in football and just sports. So, I grew up inner city Indianapolis. I'm one of those guys, blue collar. I come from a youth family union, shop floor, production floor. So, I kind of knew that coming into the safety role. I've been with Georgia Pacific at Koch Industries. I was in the industrial hygiene role there in Oregon, in Eugene, Oregon. That's where I started out, 2013. I spent probably like 4 to 5 years with Koch Industries and Georgia Pacific. I moved around to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Crawfordsville, Indiana, all with the company, all under Koch Industries. And here recently, the past year, I've been with OI Glass Plant in LaPel, Indiana. And I've been I've been really growing my influence. And one of the things that I've been doing here lately is just sharing with people. Safety, we're a community, and our job is to care about people, man, and convince them to think about themselves. So that's kind of what I've been trying to push, and that's been my mission here lately. So, yeah, no, that's me, the industrial athlete. I guess you can look at me like that because really, in all honesty, my main goal is to merge the wellness program with safety and really get people to care about what they put into their bodies. Also, because that's where it starts again, honestly, in my opinion.
No, it definitely, and you touched a good point, and we'll expand on that. Getting the wellness program merged with safety, it goes hand in hand. That's where that health factor comes into EH&S, environmental health and safety, the health and well-being of the people that we, oversee and we're taking care of. We want to make sure that, they live a long, fruitful life. So it definitely helps to try to merge those and, again, good nutrition. And that's where, you get the nutritionists that come in and tell you about all the, bad carbs versus good carbs and, all the different types of foods. So what are you doing right now in your role that you're playing to merge those two and bridge that gap?
Well, first, specifically this year, I've made a real innate focus. But I first just started with myself, man. Beginning of this year, I started working out every day in the morning time. 5 a.m. I post my list. I post my workouts through my social media page. A lot of my facility follows me, so they kind of been watching the trends, how I've been transforming my body from the beginning of the year, because I thought myself, I didn't want to preach this stuff and not live it. So I began to live my words and people start to see that. So I started a 5 a.m. workout club. So basically before the pandemic, it was probably 8 of my leadership team members meeting daily before work, holding each other accountable, working out. Like at LA Fitness, it was powerful. And what I seen is my influence started to grow, but we became tighter. Not only more productive and it worked, but it's just our bond became tighter. We just started pushing each other. And I ultimately influenced 15 to 20 people from my salary group to sign up to get LA Fitness membership, where that's what I manage. And on a monthly basis, I track the usage and, I give something to the top 2 members. So I got that piece. I got that piece that I'm really pushing for just getting people active, posting my lists online, and kind of being a walking, talking example of what it's like to live a wellness lifestyle. I think that's where it started at for me. And also, I'm a 2 or 3 Red Bull a day guy, Monster, energy drink. So what I did, I eliminated all energy drinks from my diet, and I started replacing them with a morning fruit vegetable smoothie, and it caught on. So I started providing them free to my site, and just teaching them about the nutritional facts that go into fruit and vegetable smoothies, and try to get them away from the energy drink. My
Right.
campaign is, if you can't eat them, drink them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and that's good, giving them an alternative. And I'm in the construction field, so it definitely, finding a way to get everybody off the energy drinks and off of the coffee. Again, smoothies, very healthy for you. And it's good. It's very hard, especially if you've been doing it a long time, for people to get away from that. I'm a coffee drinker myself, but I was in the military, so it's I have coffee for blood, and but I definitely increase my water intake throughout the day. Not as big, and I want to talk about the smoothie and the accountability jug, as you put it in your video that I seen on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you see it. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen it. So the accountability jug, that's how much water you really should be drinking throughout the day, because you're losing that, if not more, when you are working. So talk to us about that video, because that video is what really caught my eye and wanted me to reach out to you, your message that you were trying to portray. So explain to us and let our listeners hear, the accountability jug in a sense.
So essentially, that's kind of what I started to do. So I wanted to be the walking representation of what it's like to live the wellness lifestyle. So I basically got this gallon of water jug with throughout the day, it tracks where you're supposed to be with your water intake. 9 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 4 p.m. And it gives you just reminders, good job, whatever. But as I move throughout the facility, that everybody I come in contact with, that's what we talk about. That's the question they started to ask questions when they see me day after day. Kind of, okay, where you at with your water, George, for the day? It kind of became, that became my representation, my brand, so much. And then what's crazy, I started to see operators show up with the same type of jugs. I started to see operators drinking more water, and we just built about their health. And it just opens the door to anything, for us to talk about anything. And it makes it easier for a safe conversation. Because they come to me each and every day, even if they hold me accountable for drinking my water for the day. It was just a kind of fun thing. And it's something that I was in control of as a safety professional. Just living my words and kind of being that billboard or, that reminder of, hey, drink water. This is what I'm doing. And, and being that I'm passionate about it, I can't hold it in,
Yeah.
So
It's good. It definitely gets the engagement going, and you found that unique way. And that's what, that's what drew me to, watch your videos and actually kind of, in a sense, check you out on LinkedIn and see, we were friends on LinkedIn and, colleagues, but actually look at all the content that you were pumping out and the video and the messages and how, not entertaining, but engaging the videos are. And I could just see it, if I was a worker, I'd want to come talk to you as a safety guy, but who really wants to talk to the safety people? Nobody. But when you start to get the engagement, am I right? I mean, when you get to a facility or you get to a construction site, nobody wants to talk to us. But once you start getting that engagement and breaking those barriers and getting that trust and that rapport, well, now you can do fun stuff like that to get the engagement. And that's what really drew me, to your story and your message. So what has been one of your, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. But no, I just thought it was also interesting that I'm really opening up. I'm living my truth. I'm genuine to the point where I'm even letting my, everybody facilities follow me on social media. My Facebook, my
right.
whatever. and I'm able to send messages. You know, they're hearing the message. They're seeing the grind. They're seeing me working out and going hard before I even come into work. So it's, you know, it's crazy, but just opening up, it's helping.
Right.
It's growing, you know, they're open with me because they feel they can talk to me about anything, and that's real.
Nice. Now, what has been one of your biggest challenges getting the executive team to come over and start engaging in your safety program? Hello.
I think
there you go.
Probably one of the biggest things is just Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
I think especially for leadership, my leadership team members, one of the biggest things. Yeah, one of the biggest things for those guys was them just really understanding my mindset and how to prioritize risk. So my whole philosophy is to have leadership focus on hazards with catastrophic potential, the highest risk in the facility first, and then kind of work your way down. Because in our reality, safety is the elephant. Mm-hmm. You can't manage all hazards at once.
Right.
So that was kind of the biggest piece, getting them to understand, hey, we're going to rate. We don't have to do everything at once. Let's make a risk-based decision based on severity, probability, and frequency, and then let's work towards the top of that list, eating off one piece at a time. But it was kind of, at first, they were apprehensive because it just seems like a lot. It seems like we just got a lot on our plate. We just got a lot to tackle. But when you can, you know, break it down into those little small chunks, it's bearable. You know, it seems attainable. So that was the biggest thing with my leadership team, just, getting them to understand, hey, our job is we should refuse to kill or seriously injure somebody for production. Right. Period. We have to take care of critical risk first and foremost. Yep. So, it's just downhill.
Yeah.
But that was my biggest piece at first, is kind of getting them to understand my philosophy and how I look at things.
Gotcha. No, and that's awesome that, you have a leadership team that, is willing to, like you said, switch the mindset and take little chunks at a time for the big picture, for that elephant, and it's great because a lot of companies don't, and I call them out on the show, companies that, do not believe in safety and, bash the safety guy and why are you letting them get hurt? No, it starts with, the president, CEO, owner of the companies and, works its way all the way down to your lower level employee, the guy on the floor, the one that's doing the work. But if you don't have buy-in from that exec team and get them on board, like you have, then, it kind of, you're fighting an uphill battle. So no, and that's great to hear.
Too, I think also, I think also too, man, in a union environment, it was just extremely important for me to first come in and just build rapport. Get to know names.
Yeah.
Get to understand favorite football team. Get to know Bert. Just build. I spent a lot of time up front just studying my people. And really getting to try to, learn my people. And I think since I did so much of that up front, now it's made any idea that I do have, they're on board with it. They support me because, I came in at first and really, it was really just about helping out and really getting to know them. Doing one or two things to start out, but my main thing was being a resource and getting to know them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had a call. I had a guest on the show with Jason Lucas, and he said that when he first got to early on, the first 6 weeks that he ended up, he got asked a question: "What is your goal in the first 6 weeks?" And he said to build relationships. I'm not going to worry about the procedures and the practices, and that is going to be there after, but I'm going to build the relationships and going around and making sure I knew everybody by name and talking to people. And like you said, getting that rapport and that, that's where you kind of gain the respect. And I know in the union, facility, it's twice as hard. For those of you that are listening and have not been in a union facility or around a union, it's a tight knit brotherhood that, you know, they've been doing it for a while. They came up through an apprenticeship program and now they're, you know, journeymen, or, you know, they're still learning, but it's a tight knit group and it's a little harder to break that ice. So I know the struggles with that. I've worked in union plants up in New Jersey before, up in New York, and it definitely, it's definitely a little bit harder than it would with the non-union. But again, once you get the message across, it definitely helps you run a smooth and successful safety program like George is doing.
And then too, like the program that I had, Catch the Rabbit. So that something like fun programs like that where people can be engaged, but then they can also, you know, we're also handling a specific need and everybody can participate. Right. And what I seen was, you know, at first it was just like people didn't want to step up and say something. People were kind of, you know, hesitant about just looking out for people and then enforcing policy when they seen it peer to peer. So that's kind of what I did. I did a tenant decoy out to the facility. You know, they'll be doing something like not wearing their earplugs. And this is plant manager leadership team on down. Nice. If you caught the rabbit, you immediately got a gift card. If you didn't, you just protected your fellow employee. Gotcha. But you seen, like, it's weird, but you seen people engage. They started calling people out. They started, you know, I started to see that peer-to-peer just calling people out on safety. And that's the type of things, those are the type of things that I really love about the position, man. Just that engagement and bringing people together. Nice.
Now I'm going to play a little devil's advocate. So, you know, you say if you catch the person that's the decoy, that's the rabbit, they get a gift card. You know, what happens when, you know, somebody gets hurt and somebody sees it, they don't report it, you know, how is it intertwining with, you know, with the program? And I'm a big, you know, BBS type guy. I love the behavioral based safety, finding the good behaviors and rewarding those, as well as, you know, people that coaching and mentoring the I wouldn't say bad behaviors, but the decision somebody makes. And I've slowly kind of been going back and forth with HOP. So I'm thinking, you know, BBS, it's, you know, about finding those good behaviors, but how do you, you know, make sure all the stuff is getting reported?
So basically this is how the program works. For the month of May, we had one safety decoy. It was a safety decoy chosen for each day. And they had a list of specific kind of rules that they could break. So like, one would be their earplug not all the way inverted. One would be not wearing foam line safety glasses versus our regular safety glasses, or a bump cap without the insert. They will walk in the facility and in the employees' areas. Potentially, a lot of times this is the supervisors, the plant engineers, the leadership of the facility for a short period of time. This would be, you know, they would spend 30 minutes to an hour and see if anybody would catch them in that time period. What I wanted to drive out specifically is that if you can address your supervisor, you should be able to address anybody who walks into your area. So that was kind of the thing between, you know, leadership, salary, and, you know, hourly union members. You know, didn't want to kind of speak up, but that kind of broke that barrier because everybody was looking for the rabbit every day. So you kind of got, you know, people started to just speak up, even if they weren't the rabbit, because it was, you know, the game. It was a game. They were participating, but afterwards, those behaviors stuck. So now you have people that always were looking and show ownership of the area and would say something, whether you were the CEO of the company or, you know, a contractor coming on site. So that's the piece that we were really trying to bring out with the program.
Gotcha.
Kind of getting everybody looking and just comfortable stepping up and saying something.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you know, especially in, you know, union shops and you know, shops and in construction sites in general, you don't want to, you know, call out your supervisor, but at the same time, you planted that seed to where like you said, the behaviors the good behaviors and them looking for unsafe behaviors or unsafe acts, got the engagement, and now that seed is planted. They're continually looking at it, even when there's not a prize on the table, which is in essence what you want to stick in a behavioral-based safety program.
And the way that I do the engagement activities is that it's followed up. So that was the second one. Before that, that's what we did in May. But in March, we did a safety March Madness competition where, just like the basketball March Madness, I'm in Indiana. We're basketball crazy in Indiana. So I split the facility up just like the tournament. Basically, the way it worked, you got 1 point for hazards identified, 2 points for doing something about the hazard, and 3 points for proactively completing your awareness safety training.
Nice.
You got people competing, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but they started to compete, and it became, people were actively identifying hazards and looking for things. And, that those leading indicators became extremely important. And you seen some that really stepped up as MVPs and drove to the championship, where we gave them, free lunch and got them shirts. But it was one of those things where kind of using the competitive nature in sports that's already existing in Indiana, in my region, and kind of, putting it into the facility in a fun and positive way, getting them competing. So, but exactly what you talked about with reporting near misses. And, pretty much every quarter I have some type of engagement activity where we're challenging each other.
Nice. So, and see that right there, because a lot of companies think, I'm gonna do, these luncheons and, that's going to be good and they're going to all report. No, they don't report things because they're not engaged. And then when they don't report, you don't know about it, but yet they're still getting the luncheon. And then, there's no engagement and no reciprocation there to where they know that you can come out on the floor and say, hey, did you find anything unsafe today? And the worker is going to tell you the truth. So again, I love the engagement. That is awesome. Doing the March Madness, gave me an idea to do something like that, in facilities that I work in. So,
it works, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it works, man. Especially, it's crazy because I'm an athlete in mindset. Just like I said, I talked about the industrial athlete mindset. Everything I do, I kind of do it from, that sports perspective, that competition. And you got to think about it. A lot of people in manufacturing construction come from that mindset, so they can tap right into it.
Yeah.
And I'm a coach in nature. That's why, when I talk, I speak with passion because, that's a mindset that I'm coming from,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. You're passionate about what you do and you care, and you don't always start off like that, guys. Some people coming out of college and getting into the safety realm, you don't start off like that. You are going to get beat up once you first get there, but once you find your voice and you become passionate about safety, about caring for people and, making sure they all go home safe, that's where it really hits you. And, you put your full heart into, whatever kind of program, whether it be HOP, whether it be BBS, and just trying to focus in on the betterment of safety.
Yeah. No, I look at my facility literally like my family, man. Like, so, and I think I care about them so much they can feel it. So they don't want to disappoint me sometimes.
Yeah, you said, you set the bar high and the expectation high, but they know that they can come talk to you and say, hey, George, I need some help with this, or I found this, this area that I'm having a little trouble in safety wise. Could you help me? Could you give me some guidance? And you're, like you said, you're that coach, that mentor that will be able to come out there and help. And then they're going to hold you accountable and hold you to that higher standard because you're holding them to that higher standard. And that's great.
Yeah. And that's the way it's got to be because, too, I came from Indiana State University. I thought, And in college, you just, show them 1910.152, and then they follow it. That ain't how the real world is. When you get in the field and you really get in the trenches where, you need to execute. That's just not how it is. So,
right.
It's important to build those relationships. You have to. It's imperative.
No, and that's good. And you're giving our listeners some great advice. So with that being said, and talking about advice, what advice would you give a younger George?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What kind of advice would you give yourself, let's say, 10 years ago?
Probably a young professional myself, I would open up. I would speak to my truth. I would document my perspective more. Even as I learn, I think that's probably one thing specifically I would change. And then also I would focus on my health. You can't truly care about somebody else until you care about yourself. And that's real.
Yep.
And that's probably how I've been, I've grown my influence so much here regionally, and I'm passionate is because you naturally let endorphins off after you work out.
Yeah. And
when your body's right. And it's in you. It's not nothing that's cocky or arrogant. It's in you that you're not wearing it. No. So I think that has changed my life, that 5 a.m. workout, that 5 a.m. grind. Because, I'm more locked in.
Yeah.
So I think those are probably two things that I would definitely change. And what I've always done and what I will continue to do, learn people's names. Like literally get a bio of the people that you talk to and jot down birthdays. Jot down favorite football teams.
Mm-hmm.
Jot down, understand and study your people just like you study OSHA standards.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So,
and that's good.
I think the safety professionals should know everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, that's
exactly. And it's crazy because you say that I get to a site or to a plant or a manufacturing facility, and that is the first thing that I try to do. I go out and 2 or 3 days being out talking to everybody, getting everybody's name, so that way when I'm in a safety meeting, I'm not saying calling off roll or saying somebody's name wrong. I know them by name and I can see who's in there, and it makes it more personal when you know them by name. Not like, hey, can you come here and fix this unsafe condition? It's hey, Marcus, can you come over here? I need your help fixing this unsafe condition. And that's where like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna help the safety guy because he called me by my first name.
I mean, seriously though. Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. The power of the name is extremely important, man. You can't you have to know it. I mean, like I've seen the difference between safety professionals that didn't necessarily, weren't that engaged with their employees, didn't know the names, didn't know everybody versus ones that did. Mm-hmm. And it you can tell. Your influence has to grow even from the ground level when you're a safety professional.
Yeah.
So
you come in as a safety admin, safety coordinator.
Too, beat it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I would probably say too at the beginning of my career, I was apprehensive just about addressing or enforcing safety issues. That confrontational piece. Because you get some anxiety built up or whatever. Mm-hmm. When you got to address safety issues. But the mentality, the one switch that I made, and the mentality that I made, and I wish I would have even had at the very beginning, was just I'd rather see you at home than in a body bag, and that's how I live.
Yep.
So I'm not going to pass up. I'm not going to pass anything up. And I come from a place of love when I address the safety issue.
Yeah.
So, that fear, that fear is something that I had at first that I don't have anymore.
Gotcha.
So that's important. That's something that's important as a safety professional, though. You have to, that's one thing you have to tackle.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, you know, and it's crazy. Bad shit is going to happen as a safety professional. There's going to be an incident. There's going to be, you know, and heaven forbid, there's a catastrophic accident, a fatality. But if you know, as a safety professional, you know, getting through those challenges and those hurdles, and you know, learning from them, you know, again, drives that passion and makes you a better safety professional. Once you know how to handle, um, you know, somebody getting hurt, you know how to give them the proper triage, how to make sure they're staying calm, those types of things. You know, if and again, heaven forbid, I don't want to wish anybody have a fatality on their side or at their job site, but if something were to happen, you know, as the safety professional, you are the go-to person. You are the person that, you know, they're going to call first on the scene. So you have to handle it, you know, with in a sense your chest up and, you know, saying and taking charge. But it'll knock you down a little bit and you'll be like, why the hell am I a safety person? But if you really have a good passion for safety, a great passion for, you know, helping people, you know, that would, you know, be behind you and you learn from it. And, you know, you keep doing what you're doing and trying to make sure people don't get hurt, make sure they go home the way they came in.
Long as you coming from a place of love, don't worry about the consequences, man.
Exactly.
Just live in your truth.
Exactly.
That's all you can do.
I mean, like that.
I'm prepared, even if, you know, even if something I say or, you know, is if somebody looks at it differently, I come from a place of love. I'm trying to protect people, you know. Yeah. So as long as I look myself in the mirror and I'm doing that, I'm good. I can deal with the consequences, whatever they may be, you know.
Right. And then that's where the accountability factor comes in. You hold yourself accountable for the truth that you're trying to give people and the places of love that you're trying to do. And, you know, in essence, the you know, reciprocation from that is people understanding, hey, this guy really does care about us. So let's help him out and let's help him be successful because he's trying to keep us safe and going home to our families and, you know, giving us, you know, all of him in a sense. So, you know, let's put that effort, let's get engaged. Let's, you know, make sure everybody around us is safe. You know, and I like it, you know, the truth factor, live your truth, be who you are. Don't change who you are, you know. And again, you come out as a, you know, iron fist safety cop, you're going to get some bad looks. People are going to talk shit about you. That's just the way it is. But if you come out engaging, talking, understanding all your personnel, learning how they interact, and guess what? They start bringing you into those tighter circles, into those crews, and you can then be able to talk about safety and they understand where you're coming from.
No, that's real. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a big person on energy. So I just try to put good out into the world, and I believe good will come back. Oh, yeah. You know, so that's how I live my life. You know, I'm just doing good. I don't have nothing to hide. So when I speak, that's why I speak with passion because it's my truth. You know, so people can feel that though, right. And especially when you go to a manufacturing facility, construction site, you know, they can smell it if it's false. You know, and you know,
as soon as you open that, exactly. As soon as you open a car door, they're like, "Yep, here comes the bullshit." Yep, and sometimes it is. I mean, I remember one time being at a construction site. I'm gonna give you a little backstory on me. At one time at a construction site, I just got there, and you know, I hear on the radio, code 27. You know, and I'm thinking, what the hell's a code 27? So I start walking around doing my audits, and you know, then the next day I come in and same thing over the radio, code 27. I asked one of the operators, hey, what's a code 27? He was like, it just means that the safety guy's here, so they're just letting everybody know that you're here. I was like, wow, that's crazy. You know, but again, it goes to show, and you know, this was, you know, early in my career, that I tried to come in with that iron fist and hey, you need to live by these standards and the OSHA standards and this and this and this and do what I say. And yeah, that didn't turn out too well. And, it was then when I realized that, everybody's giving each other the heads up that I'm coming around. So they're either going to go hide or they're going to hide what they're doing or make sure everybody has their PPE on while I'm there. And then when I leave, it goes to crap. So learning human behavior and how people work, and you have to be able to build that respect and that rapport by engaging somebody, not just coming in thinking that, you're going to tell them what to do. You being young, they're not going to listen to you because they've been doing it for 20 years. Yes, granted, you've been doing it for 20 years, but here's how I can help you do it a little bit safer. That was my, my go-to line. I know you have the experience, but how about we try doing it this way? It's a little bit safer. It might take an extra step or two, but at the end of the day, if you're doing it safer, guess what? You get to go home without any injuries. And then you see the light bulb go off and like, maybe this kid has some, a little bit of something that, we've been missing. So it was very interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you showed that you pulled through on one or two things, then you kind of become the go-to guy.
Yeah.
So no, that's real. I believe in that. Yeah. I believe in that.
So how have you evolved, George, from the time you got into safety to now? How have you evolved as a safety professional?
So even coming in, my passion has always been the training aspect of public speaking. That's my bulk. That's my butter. Instructor-led safety training, getting in front of people, sending a message, having real conversation. One thing I really like about safety and how I've grown is the whole concept of making risk-based decisions versus just strictly OSHA standards. Mm-hmm. Understanding the risk management systems and how you get leadership and employee engagement involved up first, risk assessment, risk management next, manage knowledge of change of management and safety training, and then that continuous improvement process. So I think that's more than my next step, just kind of being strategic about, how I actually go out implementing the safety program and making sure I hit each one of those levels, where I'm managing risk across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely been my biggest piece. And then just understanding also what I'm passionate about, what I really want to go after. And then that whole caveat of, go all in on your strengths, and really develop. I want to be, I want to be the best at safety training, since that's what I like so much.
Right.
But that was kind of my thing. I knew I was good at it, but I didn't know what my lane was or how I wanted to go about it. And I was kind of, I grew up in that you don't use social media age. That kind of you hold everything, not necessarily sharing. Yeah. But now, I'm wide open, and I want to help people out, because I'm realizing, people a lot of safety professionals go to college just like I did, and it's different when you get out into the field. It just really is. So yeah. I have a unique perspective, being, the age that I am. And also just the different experiences that I had that I can speak on. So, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, man. Just, that openness, me really understanding what I want to do as far as when it comes to safety.
Yeah, we connected on LinkedIn, and I hadn't seen any of your contact, and it was good to, you're always trying to connect with people like-minded and even people outside of your network, somebody different, and but then just recently your content started coming out. You started pumping out more content and more videos, and again, the message is there. And like you said, being able to be that good trainer and that good speaker. I like the way you do your videos. They're inside your office. They're in your training room, and like the one that you posted, the jelly bean, the jelly beans. That kind of got me. I was like, man, he's really onto something here. So that's why again I reached out and have you on here, and you're giving us all this good knowledge. It's really great.
And see what's crazy? I literally do that with every new hire orientation. I take them through the same exercise. I did it with every person in my facility. It's just like now I'm documented because I'm seeing that it's working. I know it works. I knew it worked for me. So it's kind of like, okay, somebody else can use this, and maybe they can protect the people they fight. It's like that type of mindset, because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to win off of it. It's going to help people out. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, your reach is organic. It comes up on the feed because, granted, you're trying to get, views and likes, but the message is organic. It's you being you and what you can bring to the table and what value you can bring to somebody. And again, it could reach, people all the way in the UK, all the way in, in Australia. And, they might take it and perceive it a little differently, but the message is organic, and then they'll be able to run with it or use some commonalities that come out of your message. And that's what's great about
it. And I do these. If you one-on-one with me, we have a conversation, you see how passionate I am. You see me delivering these messages on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly didn't even expect me sharing those videos to get that type of reaction.
Oh yeah, I seen it and I was like, yep, I gotta have him on the show. He's full of energy and I like the message. And again, I have various people on the show. Like yesterday, I just did a live takeover of Safety FM with Dr. Jay Allen. That was unique for me because I've never actually been live. And he was recording live, and it pushed the live stream out, and then it was the best of for like 5 hours of all my stuff. So it was kind of cool. But again, getting the message out there and having those types of people and making those connections, it's great. It's the greatest feeling in the world. And that's why a podcast, So what's one hobby that you use other than working out to decompress after a long day? What are you doing?
So I'm coaching. I'm coaching football also, and I'm a mentor. So that's one of the other things that I'm extremely passionate about. So everything I'm trying to do with the industrial athlete, I've been mentoring people. I probably introduced 8 to 10 people from Indiana State University to the career, to the field, and followed them all through college till they got their degree, and they're the safety professionals. But that's one of my passions, man. I want to just introduce specifically the minorities in the Black community to, STEM careers, trade schools, safety degrees, and this field that, not a lot of people know about. It's just, honestly, just not a lot of people know or understand what I do. So I think that I do that piece, and then the football. I love football. So I'm coaching. I'm a coach in Little League. I'm coaching running back this year.
Nice.
So I kind of pour, my outside. Outside. That's what I do, man. I love the whole sports. I love the kids, and then giving back, because I'm back literally in the neighborhood that I grew up in. So It's one of those things where I really want to get back to this community.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it's about, man. We got a restaurant right close to downtown Indianapolis, and it's crazy. We're like the lifeblood of the community. So it sounds like I'm preaching now, but people constantly come up to the restaurant and just ask about my career, and I get the chance to mentor them, or get them thinking differently than they already do, and that helps me. That's all right. I live off of that.
Yeah, and that's great. You being a mentor, and like you said, they come in and ask about your careers, and you have that opportunity not to change the person, but to instill a different mindset on what they can accomplish. I put a post out today on LinkedIn, and it said, anything or everything you imagine can be real, by Pablo Picasso.
Yep.
So anything you put your mind to, anything you focus on, anything that you write down, granted, you have an idea in your head. Once you write it down, it's materialized. It's there. and you can do whatever you put down on that piece of paper, whatever thought and idea that you have in your head. You know, you can put it out there and bring it to light. You can bring it and be successful. You know, again, people don't understand, and they think success is going to happen overnight. It's a journey, not a destination. So
and our reality, because like me myself, man, like anybody that knows me knows, in high school, I barely graduated high school, man. I graduated with like a 2.2. Got into Indiana State University on academic probation. People didn't think like that, even that I was going to make it this far. I started out remedial math classes. Like, you know, I had to grind to even get the degree.
Right.
You know, but when I went to college, I switched my mindset. I switched it from, the sports to all in on school.
Right.
You know, I kind of dove all in and then just gave it my all. And I was able to, I graduated college with a 3.2, 3.1 GPA,
Nice.
So
Nice.
It was just like, people know that. So like when they come to me, it's almost, okay, I see he did it. And the same way I looked at, I had to see somebody else that was like me. And I'm like, okay, man, maybe if I just switch my mindset, then it's attainable. Because people, especially from where I'm from, they get scared when they see the physics and the chemistry and the math and, all the courses that you got to take just to even get into the field,
Right. Right.
So it's like, I kind of, I just show them, hey, it's possible, it's attainable. Like, seriously, like, I don't sugarcoat it. I barely graduated from high school, and I did, So that's that piece of it there. They get it locked into, and it's just like, okay, well, I know you ain't lying to me. That's real. So maybe I'm gonna try this out, and that's all I want them to do.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you plant that seed and show them that it is possible, and then you change a person's perspective on life, on how they can attain those things, and it's great. So, and your backstory, you like you said, you barely graduated high school, and now you're a safety professional with a degree, with the CSP designation. That in itself, you think about it. I barely graduated high school, and I went off to the Navy and got some training there. Coming out, I ended up becoming a laborer first, going into confined space, putting myself at risk. I had to get hurt a couple of times, and I hurt myself a couple of times. But then after that, I seen the safety professionals at all these jobs giving the safety talks and coming around and checking on our JSAs and everything. And I was like, man, I think I can do that. And then that's where, the switch happened, and it turned to, hey, I can go be a safety professional now, 10 years in, CHST, have all kinds of experience, been down to Mexico, and it's, it is possible. So listeners, new safety professionals, people that are in college that are thinking about becoming safety professionals, guess what? It's going to happen. It is attainable. You can make it happen. Keep struggling, keep fighting. If you're not struggling, you're not trying. Okay. And that's one real thing. If you're not struggling, you're not trying, right? Because it's not going to be easy. You have to struggle. You have to struggle a little bit, keep fighting, keep clawing away, and you will make it. So with that being said, what is the number one thing that George gives to an exec team? What is the biggest thing that you have given to your executive team, safety wise?
So probably just the mentality. And I always say, if you see something, say something. But if you say something, do something. That's what safety is about. About getting people to look, evaluate their hazards, know what can hurt them, what they can do about it, and take action. If you don't have that, you don't have a safety program. So
Nice.
That's what I start with. I mean, like my leadership team knows. I send the same message. This is what it's about at the end of the day. Go and have real conversations with your people about safety, and get them engaged, get them speaking up, get them. If we have that piece, we're one step closer to where we need to be at. But that's what I leave. That's what I leave with everybody. If you see something, say something. But if you say something, do something.
Yeah. Nice. So how has and I hate talking about this because it's already, like beating a dead horse, but how did the whole pandemic impact you and the company that you're with?
Specifically for me, it's we weren't able to meet in large groups and have our normal safety meetings where we can, progress on, life critical issues and, improving safety programs.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably been the biggest piece. I haven't been able to get in front of my people on a regular basis and just, deliver a message.
Right. So
that's why that's part of the reason I've done it through social media, through LinkedIn, through, I've had to get creative on, how I deliver messages to my team. And, the focus kind of switches from, the normal occupational safety top risk in the facility to, the pandemic and the specific issues that we have here and now.
Right.
So that's kind of been the biggest switch, because we still have catastrophic hazards. We got to manage during this pandemic, and it's hard to really be as effective without getting in front of them in large groups. But I still one-on-one basis. They still know they can come to my office. They still I still build with them. That's probably been the biggest change, and the biggest hamper in my position.
Nice. Well, there you have it, folks. So again, George, I greatly appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us and give our listeners a little piece of you, and keep pumping out those great videos. So tell everybody where they can reach you at. How can they reach you? If they want to get some one-on-one type, maybe coaching and mentoring. Let people know where they can reach you at.
Yeah. So through LinkedIn, I'm George Nelson. My email is nelson9507@gmail.com. And also on any social media platform, you can find me. Facebook, I'm Georgie Nelson. And Instagram, I'm Mr. Hustle While You Wait. But you'll see pretty soon that I'm going to push this industrial athlete. So there's going to be more to come. I'm just now opening up. So I thank you. I really appreciate you having me on your show, man. I have aspirations to do something like this also. So
yeah,
I'm a talker.
Oh yeah, it's good. And again, if y'all reach out to him if you want to talk to him, one-on-one. If you go follow him on Instagram and all your social media platforms. It was great having you on the show, because again, I seen how passionate you were in the video, and I was like, he has to be on the show. But if you're looking to get into podcasting, as well, and maybe some live stream type stuff, hit me up. I definitely can help you. But yeah, it definitely was a pleasure, talking to you, George. We'll definitely be in touch. And again, people, those that are listening, our listeners, everybody, go hit up Mr. George Nelson. Find him everywhere. Y'all know how to reach me. Hit the hotline. Get me on the email. Find me on all the social media platforms, the X Factor Safety. So until next time, we will see you later. Well, we're at the end of our show. We want to thank you for lending us your ears for just a little bit. We hope you were able to get a bit of value out of this episode. We would love to hear from you, so go check us out on the website, thexfactorsafety.com. Send us an email at xfactorsafety@gmail.com. You can even give us a call or send us a text message over to our X Factor hotline at 434-381-0723. If you have thoughts and ideas for the show or would like to be featured on the show, reach out and we'll make it happen. So before I go, ask yourself one question. What is your X Factor? Until next time.